Divine Intimacy, Seeking God in Creatures. Presence of God. I place myself in the presence of Jesus in the tabernacle, asking him to teach me how to seek him and to find him in others. The relations with our neighbor, which duty imposes, cannot distract the soul in its search for God if it has learned to consider creatures with a wholly supernatural view, that is, with a deep spirit of faith. When the eye is illumined by the light of faith, the soul seeks and finds God, not only present in itself, but also in all creatures and especially in its neighbor. Creatures are, as it were, traces of the passing of God, whereby are revealed his greatness, power, wisdom, and divine virtues. In fact, every one of them has been created by God, through his wisdom, which is the Word, his only begotten Son. John of the Cross. If this is true of all creatures, even of those that are inanimate, it is especially so of man, whom God expressly created to his image and likeness. The soul living by faith always relates in acts to God when dealing with its neighbor, and rather than detain itself in outward experiences, sees, serves, and loves God alone in all creatures indiscriminately. For the soul of faith, men of whatever race, nationality, position, or social standing have only one aspect, the image of God, only one name, child of God. Unfortunately, vice, sin, and fault can more or less disfigure the divine image in man, but the image remains, and the spirit of faith knows how to find it. Furthermore, even those who live far from God are still his children, if not effectively by grace, at least by their vocation to grace. In other words, they too are always capable of being elevated to a supernatural state. When the soul sees God in all creatures, nothing can distract it from its spirit of recollection and its search for God. Only when our relations with our neighbor remain on a purely human level can they disturb our interior recollection in various ways. This happens first of all because the soul easily becomes attached to creatures not knowing how to see God in them. It stops at their human qualities, at the feelings of congeniality and affection which are aroused in it, and looks to these for consolation and then satisfaction of its natural need to love and to be loved. In this way, creatures more or less invade it, preoccupying its mind and heart and robbing its spirit of the precious liberty of remaining oriented toward God and recollected in him. And even when its relations with the neighbor cease, the soul will remain occupied with him and therefore be unable, even in the very hours of prayer, to recollect itself in God. Furthermore, if we see creatures, only human persons, who disturb us with their requests and needs, who often besiege us from morning till night, not giving us a moment's rest or peace, who irritate us by their faults, when we see creatures in this manner, our relations with them, although required by our duties, will weary and bore us, and we shall often be tempted to evade them, even under the pretext of defending our interior recollection. When, on the other hand, the soul is fixed in the simple glance of faith, every creature is for it a messenger from God. It brings God to the soul and takes the soul to him. Thus, through visible creatures, the soul goes to the invisible God and speaks familiarly with him. Colloquy. O Lord, how I want to learn to see you and recognize you in every creature. You have created all men to your image and likeness. All, therefore, bear your impression, your mark. Teach me not to stop at human appearances which might allure my heart, making it give to a simple creature that affection which, in virtue of my consecration, should be reserved for you alone, O my God. Whenever my glance and my heart stop at creatures and look for satisfaction, contentment, and understanding in them, I get lost, distracted, and tormented. I always come away from them more tired and weary, because after seeking and loving, I find nothing to satisfy my infinite need for love. Yes, I know that as long as I do not look upon creatures with that simple, profound glance of faith which enables me to find you in all of them, oh my God, to deal with them, even when my duty requires it, will always be an obstacle and an impediment to my interior recollection. Oh my God, grant me that single eye mentioned in the Gospel, that eye which can pierce through interior appearances and fix its gaze on that divine mark which you yourself have imprinted on every man. Then I shall make no distinction between those who are congenial and attractive and those who are mean, disagreeable, or repulsive. All these externals will disappear, and I shall recognize your face in everyone, and shall serve and love you, my God. Shall I then be able to complain that the relations of my neighbor, which duty imposes, or all the things I have to do for him, distract me from you? Does not faith tell me that in treating my brethren, I am treating with you, and that when I serve them, I am serving you? Did not Jesus say, as long as you did it to one of these, my least brethren, you did it to me? You dwell in the soul of everyone who is in this state of grace, just as you dwell in mine. And if, unfortunately, all men are not in the state of grace, all are capable of receiving grace. All are the objects of your merciful love. All are called, by vocation, to be temples of the Blessed Trinity. Then, O Lord, if I wish to seek you within myself, why do I not seek you also in my brethren? O my God, purify my sight, which is so easily deceived by human appearances, and make it capable of discovering you and finding you in every creature. May God bless us. Amen. Amen.